Ladies and gentlemen, welcome! It is time for the round of 16 here in the Team Liquid Legacy Star League Season 3. I am Sail, and with me as always is Elegant.
Yep, here I am as always, but today is a very special week. We move on to another stage of this great tournament. As Sail has already said, it's going to be the round of 16, featuring some very, very distilled talent from the early stages of the tournament and a few seeds from previous tournaments as well. So it's going to be really, really cool to see who shows up and brings their best games. Today's got some really interesting matchups as well.
Indeed, indeed. The Behemoths from the last season have joined us here. Sziky is going to be playing today. I know a number of people were eager to see him play. There were some various comments even like, oh, why isn't he playing in the round of 24 groups? Well, he was seeded straight here into the round of 16. We decided to, give everyone else a break, allow other people to advance, and just put him here where he belongs.
Exactly. There's no point in having Sziky in a qualifier. That just isn't.
It's just silly. It just makes the nerd sad.
Exactly. It'd just be crazy. So we've got the big powerhouses like Sziky coming out at this stage, and that's scary for everybody else because it represents a lot of more recent hard work for a lot of these players to get to this stage of the tournament. So over the last few weeks, they've had to really struggle to get here, and now this is the real proving ground, and it's so easy to go out just like that to these great players. So they're going to have to be way on top of their game.
It's going to make things interesting, though, I think, because I don't think I've seen... Well, actually, no. Terror recently played in... Or sorry, not Terror. Technics recently played in something that I'm struggling to remember now. Oh, yeah, the show match thing between... Actually, Eon's are... Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Eon's are not seeded. No. Of the seeds, Technics is the only one I think I've seen play recently in the show match between Defiler.ru and the Bulgarian StarCraft fan site. Okay, I think Psystorm.eu.
Yeah.
So, but aside from him, I haven't really seen Sziky, Julia, or Terror play at all. So, not really sure what kind of shape they're in compared to last season. Julia in particular, I think, will need to be in good shape to kind of keep that top dog status. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting groups all around. So with that, let's take a look at today's group. It is going to be Sziky, FremAN, True Touch, and Zaraki. 3 Zergs and a lone Protoss hero. How do you feel about this group, Elegant?
I think everybody probably knows more or less how I feel about this group. You've got Sziky, the best of the best Forerunner players. He's a monster. He needs no further introduction. We've got True Touch, who's a good player all around, really solid guy. Zaraki, again, someone roughly around True Touch level, maybe a little bit lower historically. And then we've got FremAN, who he's an old school player. He came back from a long period of inactivity, but in the round of 24 he made it through, but it was by no means a landslide victory for him. He was not looking kind of comprehensively better than everybody else, and so he's going to have a really hard time in a very strong group that's stacked up with Zerg, the hardest matchup for Protoss at the best of times.
Yeah, and actually his the last game that he played, which was against his fellow countryman Kenzie, on Fighting Spirit, I guess? Or wait, no, that was on Fighting Spirit, right?
I think so.
Anyway, yeah, it was like a pretty hectic game, a crazy game, and yeah, as you said, FremAN just looked pretty shaky the whole way through. Actually, wait, no, that was the losers match. I'm sorry, that was on Aztec.
I remember wondering quite how he won in the end.
Yeah. Wait, so who did he play in the last match then? He played... Oh, he played a PvP against Enjoy Me. That's right, yeah. So he played the PvZ against Kenzie on Aztec. And it looked, I'm pretty sure at many points in the game that he was behind. Like getting denied, getting his third gas base denied, getting dropped in his main.
Losing his army.
Yeah, exactly. And I wrote him off at various points in the game, and yet he somehow came back and then went on to beat Enjoy Me in a PvP in the final match and made it through. So that was pretty interesting. I guess on the bright side, if there is one, he only has to play one matchup in the group, so...
Yeah,
he's got that going
is true.
for him.
He has got that going for him, and that is that's a good thing. But PvZ is generally not an easy matchup, and especially when you're against people who have been so constantly active for a long time, as these Zerg players have. He's going to have such a hard time. I cannot stress that enough. I'm not going to write him off yet, but he is going to be difficult for FremAN at all turns.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And having a first game against Sziky is not something you want ever.
No, it's
regardless
not.
of who you are.
Yeah.
Having said that, apparently Sziky played against Bisu recently, and he lost, obviously.
He did. Yeah.
So it's possible. It's possible for Protoss to beat Sziky. You know, FremAN, I'm just saying, all you gotta do is play like Bisu. You know, it's easy peasy.
It's possible for
right?
a Protoss to beat Sziky. But the thing is about Bisu, you watch his stream, and then you're like, well, that was easy, you know.
Watching
it's
Bisu's
easy.
stream.
And then you log onto IC Cup and you try and do the exact same thing, and all your stuff dies, and you've got no units, and your third base isn't happening. It's terrible. So I don't know if anyone can really emulate that kind of success, especially not against Sziky.
Yeah, indeed. Now, I wanted to keep going on Bisu's stream, but I guess no Bisu here today. Let's not get too off topic.
Unless he's in the chat.
Yes, in which case...
I don't see him there, but, you know, we'll just wait. That's cool.
Yeah, quick, somebody get... Bisu was streaming just now. He might actually still be streaming. I don't know, he stopped like half an hour ago, but he was definitely streaming recently.
Yeah, he was earlier today. So maybe he stopped for TLS. It's good form.
That is exactly right, Elegant. That's right. Bisu, you the man.
Bisu.
All right. Anyway, first game is going to be, of course, Sziky versus FremAN. It's going to be on Polaris Rhapsody now. We do have a new map pool. And also, a quick note, the format of this group stage is slightly different from the round of 24. We are going to have best of one first and second sets, but then the winners, losers, and final match will all be best of threes, played across all three maps in the map pool, which are going to be Polaris Rhapsody, Andromeda, and Fighting Spirit in that order. So the best of ones will be on Polaris Rhapsody, and then all the best of threes will use all three of those maps. So, with that, Elegant, game number 1, are you ready?
I'm ready, that's it.
Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go into game number 1. At the bottom right, as the blue Zerg player, we have Sziky _ What, was Sziky taken already on the server? What's up with that?
No.
Anyway, at the top left, as the purple Protoss, we have NG FremAN. Man, do you think like Steve Man just went on and grabbed everyone's ID or something?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Maybe.
Trying to be cool. He's trying to be like Combat X.
Yeah.
Add some dashes to his name.
Exactly, because Combat X is just the guy everyone wants to be copying.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, when I was a New Beetle StarCraft player, I wanted to be just like Combat.
We've all been there.
All day.
We've all been at a point where we actually thought Combat X was quite good. Oh, that's interesting. What is up with that pylon?
Yeah, it's pretty whack.
So presumably Gateway's gonna go up and then forge down into the left.
What? I would think he'd make all the buildings upwards and to the right diagonally. So forge.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So Gateway up on the right and forge down to the left of the Gateway.
But is that pylon type with the cliff? I don't think so.
Honestly don't know. No, it might be. Look, because the cliff ground is kind of all funny. Not that it makes any difference. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that. Well, meanwhile, Sziky is going for a little bit of overpool action. No sign of any kind of speed or anything. Out goes the first drone as well. Do a little bit of...
Yeah, Sziky goes overpool basically every game, except the occasional ZVC where he has to mix it up a bit to not be predictable, but he goes overpool a lot. And look at this first drone is actually going all the way out here, so he's not going to wait for his Overlord Scout. He's actually going to check in case FremAN's doing something tricky like 2-gating, which I think is a high possibility. You know, best of one against the unarguably best foreigner,
Absolutely.
you know, in the scene at the moment. Possibly, I don't know if I'm qualified to say of all time, but the level that Sziky's gotten to right now, where he's actually able to take games off high-level Koreans, is something that, you know, very few foreigners ever have achieved. So
I mean, I wish we could test him against, you know, all the best foreigners throughout the foreign
throughout
history.
right?
But the fact is, they're not playing now, and he is. He is unequivocally the best now. I don't think anyone would really dispute that. So yeah, I can completely see why he just wants to play that a little bit safer, because any small deficit that he finds himself at, losing his scouting very early, that he finds himself at through slight loss of mining time, that kind of thing, he can definitely make up for in superior ability, and he just needs to not lose to anything silly. And he knows that. He definitely knows that. And here we have the first few links going out. Nothing too fancy going to be happening with those. We've got 2 cannons coming in right away for FremAN. Very, very smart. Not taking any chances whatsoever, because most of the time if you lose, it's not because you made 2 cannons.
Yeah, looking at this wall also now, it's quite a big gap at the top there. It's not tight between the forge and the pylon. I do want to point out Sziky was quite efficient with that scouting drone. He then pulled it back to make his 3rd base here at the bottom left, which is in fact a double gas base, you'll notice. So Polaris Rhapsody, a 2-player map, it's got some peculiarities like this double gas base. The closer 3rd is of course a mineral only. In fact, there's 2 mineral onlys that are close to your natural. So Zergs will generally go and get this double gas, and this allows for some interesting things, going faster lurkers or mutas or whatnot. Those gas heavy units is a lot more feasible on this map. Conversely, this base, it's hard to SimCity, obviously. It's very open around the hatchery. The entrances to the base, like there's a narrow ramp here and a slightly wider ramp on the side, but basically you generally, as the Zerg against the Protoss, want to be defending around the hatchery with a SimCity, and it's not quite so easy to do that here.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So it makes it a little bit difficult. I think the bottom left-hand base is quite susceptible to run-bys and run-ins with speed lots and things like that. It can be really, really good, because even if you've got colonies around it, the colonies still take a little while to kill, like 6 or 7 speed lots, and they can maybe snipe off hatchery in the meantime. So FremAN might be able to take advantage of that kind of thing. We don't have any +1 weapons coming in yet, but it's early days yet. We only just really saw the first 100 gas come in, so I guess we'll just wait and see, but no sign of it so far. The pylon placement at the front is really weird. If this were a Hydra Bust situation, there is nothing to stop that pylon just getting sniped off. There is really nothing.
I mean, this whole formation is pretty dangerous. I mean, all these buildings are kind of poking out, so...
Weird thing is, it looks planned, in a way.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would hope that FremAN's at least, practice a couple of games on this map, because this isn't a map that's commonly used necessarily on ladder or anything like that. So you would have had to specifically try the map just to have a look. So hopefully he did something like that. But I don't know, if he tried it a few times and this is the best wall he came up with, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. I mean, you can see it's going to take more than 3 Zealots to block it. I think Blinks can still run through those 2 Zealots on the top. So it would take if he shifts them both like half a hex higher, maybe it'll block. But
possibly.
Still
that's a bit questionable even still. But we do have +1 ground weapons coming. It's a little bit late, not super early from FremAN. But you've got this still happening now as well. So can only imagine we're going to see some kind of speed zealot action. It's not going to be anything crazy. But, it's kind of handy that he's going for speed zealots, because he's having to make so many to block up this wall anyway. So you may as well make mid-game use of them.
Indeed. And looks like Sziky is continually poking around with his lings, but as we can see, FremAN not doing anything too crazy. He hasn't got his speed just yet. He hasn't really gone for the +1 speed loss. So even though he might want to poke out a little bit with the Zealots, he has to be very, very careful, because Sziky already has speed, I think, so he doesn't want to get caught outside. In the meantime, we just do see a regular 4th hatchery here doing a bit of SimCity at the natural for Sziky. Got the 5th hatch going. Got basically everything is standard. I mean, we're just gonna have to wait, another couple of minutes to see any kind of action going on. Both players kind of in the macroing up stage of the game. Looks like Sziky gonna hide.
No! Sorry, first Corsairs and a little spot of bother in Zyky's main. FremAN needs to know the micro, but it gets taken down.
Sandwiched.
Damn. Yeah, not the best start.
In the meantime, we got one Overlord kind of hidden at the top right. Not really hidden, but just making sure Protoss doesn't take that double gas base. If Protoss gets a double gas against Zerg, it's actually pretty tricky for Zerg to play against.
Yeah, that's quite bad.
It's kind of like part of the reason why maps like Longinus are interesting for PvZ.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we have +1 Carapace Elegant for air.
So we do. Very, very curious. So this could indicate a couple of different things. It could be just kind of Overlord defense, so he doesn't get any big Overlord busts going off, or he could be going for a kind of big mutant mid game, or he could be going for drops.
Oh man, this next Corsair is going to get immediately sniped. Look at this Stargate. It's being
I don't think it
camped by
is.
Sziky. Oh, Sziky!
He's so on it.
Dirty
so
spawn camper. Man, if this was a Counter-Strike server, you just get banned immediately.
But the fun thing about that is he had to have an eye on it. He couldn't just leave the Scourge there, because of course I would have escaped. So Sziky's staying pretty with it. We have speed lots ready to come out now. There we go. The speed kicks in. The +1 weapon's not quite ready yet. FremAN lands 1, 2, 3 hits on the lings. Nothing big. He's going to head on to that bottom left-hand corner. Sziky making up one more colony just to be safe and sure, and I think that's a very good idea. We have 2 second colonies already in, so he should be safe. But as we've already mentioned, the SimCity is not so easy down there. And here come the speed zealots. The +1 weapon should be done in a second. Where is it? There we go. +1 kicks in. And here comes Zealots. Is he going to commit? I don't think he should commit to this. It's not as weak as it looks. And he can get drilled to absolute hell right there. Very sensibly pulling back. But oh, where's he going? He looks like he's going to go for the sunken colonies. See this SimCity. It is not very easy for Sziky, but I just really don't think there's going to be enough Zealots in there. Doing a decent job to start, though. FremAN's going to be able to grab 1 sunken colony. Taking quite a lot of hits from those links as well. I don't think this has got too much in the way of legs, because Sziky has a whole bunch of links coming over and meters popping out as well. FremAN losing his first force right there, pretty much for free. Very inexpensive defense right there for Sziky, not having to invest much at all. Losing 1 drone in the process, but nothing terrible. And here we have the meters out as well, heading on over towards FremAN's base. So this is what the +1 carapace was in fact for, and if that's going to kick in a second as well. FremAN only has 2 Corsairs out and about at the moment, so
we got DTs
could
going
be a bit
out,
of danger.
We have DTs going out. Unfortunately, Sziky has good overload placement everywhere, and he's got Sunkens covering his spaces as well. He's rebuilding these 2 Sunkens at the third. So these DTs aren't really going to do anything. Love that Sunken placement on the far left of the bottom left base, by the way. That's really cool. No surface area possible by the Zealots. In the meantime, looks like, well, the Muta's coming in, and how is FremAN going to deal with this? He's got 1 cannon in the map. Not quite covering this inside part, though. He's got a good number of Corsairs. He's got to be careful, though. There are 4 Scourge here that could take him out. He's gone up to 5 Corsairs now. I don't think he has +1. No, he does not. He definitely has to be careful, but it looks like, oh no, he's gonna take some Scourge hits! He takes all 4 Scourge hits, down to just 2 Mutas right now, and 2 Corsairs, no Corsairs remaining, but Sziky takes a big Storm hit though as well. Does FremAN have another one? Looks like FremAN is making the Archon. He's losing a lot of probes though. Is there another Storm coming over? There is another Storm. It's not the best Storm this time though. And looks like Sziky's going to start taking some pot shots on this Archon. Will the Archon finish before the Mutas can take it down? It's going to be very close. I don't think the Archon will finish. Oh, will it get a shot? It doesn't get a shot though. Does not get a shot.
He's 50 Corsairs. All those Corsairs cannot just go and die. He needs to make another cannon as well or something. He's just getting ripped to shreds. Oh, nice Storm. But the next Corsair goes down as well. There is 1 Archon now out though, which is finally going to force those Mutas away. But damn, that is a lot of probes. Natural expansion is looking pretty empty at this point. All those Mutas highly damaged. Only a couple of Corsairs would be enough to finish them off. But we already have another base in. Where is that DT though? DT could go down to that 6 o'clock base very easily, and I'm wondering if FremAN will have the presence of mind to do so. That's a little bit unfortunate. He clearly wants the DT to be there. He clearly wants to be keeping an eye on that. He needs to get down there right away before we get Overlord coverage. There are 2 Overlords floating ominously towards it. That's a shame. He might be
waiting for drones.
Yeah, he might be waiting for drones indeed, but I think Sziky's probably 1 step ahead on that, and he is going to have the Overlords there. FremAN moves in, and he sees the base. And he holds positions in the mineral line. Very nice indeed. We have the Mutas coming back into the main base of FremAN though. Where are the Corsairs? Do we have any Corsairs? We have just 1 Corsair. 1 High Templar gets sniped off really easily, and he's going to go back in for another one. Not enough energy for a Storm yet. All those Mutas are very highly damaged though, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. 2 High Templar. Man,
Sziky knows this DT is here. Look at this. He didn't lose a single drone. I don't know how he knew that was there. I mean, he must have known by seeing it at the bottom left base, and then he knew that it didn't die, so he assumed it would go to his third. That is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like read FremAN's mind.
And it's approaching crunch time right now for FremAN. Sziky has gone up to 4 bases. He's droning a little bit, but sooner or later he'll be really ready to commit to his army. He's got Lurker Aspect coming on in, still making more drones, sending them down to 6, but he's pretty well droned up right now. And his army is actually quite big, very spread out, but quite big nonetheless. It's a supply lead at the moment for Sziky. So FremAN
has no High Templar.
Yeah, he has not a single one.
Oh man. That's
He's
not
got
good.
no gas either. He's just made a round of High Templar, but this army is going out with no storm support, no area of effect damage whatsoever. And he's getting up onto that high ground, which is a good position to have, but he needs to fight in a very favorable position right now in order to get a good engagement off. He could attack down into 6 o'clock. He's going down from the high ground there, or he could attack down into the 7 o'clock base as well, but no, instead he decides to pull back, feeling like he's probably going to get sandwiched. And I don't know if that's the best decision. I think his army is actually superior at this point.
Yeah, it looks like he just pulled back to scare away those 4 muted that were blocking his third, which seems a bit unnecessary. Meanwhile, the Hydro Force now taking the high ground here, so he doesn't really want to engage here. He's going to make sure at least they're both on low ground. He's going to be fighting slightly uphill. It's going to make the Goons a little bit less effective. A lot of Hydras here, but a lot of speed loss as well. I think, despite the lack of Storm, he can still take this because there's not nearly enough Hydras here. Sziky did invest a decent amount in the Mutas and Scourge, and it looks like, yes, it is going to be a victory for the Protoss here. He is tearing through the Hydra army. Sziky not even retreating, just allowing the remaining Hydras to die here, a bit surprisingly. Meanwhile, though, Hydra's cutting off reinforcements. Got to be careful, though. Sziky could snipe off these High Templar. Yes, nice move by Sziky to snipe off the High Templar, and this, oh man, this counterattack getting 2 High Templar and also forcing the entire Protoss army back just to deal with a small handful of Hydras. So Sziky buying some precious time here. Might even get another High Templar. Oh man, really efficient use of the second group of Hydras.
Yeah, very, very nice. That was a great move by Sziky, getting in there, knowing that the High Templar would be straggling behind the main force, but he did lose a pretty significant engagement right there. He is very, very low on troop count right now. He's morphing a whole bunch of lurkers. We do not have observers, though, yet with FremAN's army. He needs observers. Oh, and Sziky bringing in the muted, grabbing another High Templar, and the probe again. This is such good frustration plays. FremAN is just going to be so pissed off. And finally, lurkers are in for Sziky, and he is safe for the moment. We do not have observers in yet. These High Templars are straggling behind constantly. Those mutas, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad, Sale. And we don't have a robo up yet as well, just making in FremAN's name.
Man, Sziky really must have practiced or at least studied the map here. Look at this, he's perfectly just left the mutas just on the other side of this little wall thing because he knows all the Protoss units are coming down here and keep popping back and forth. I mean, this is a really map-specific move. Really, really interesting. Meanwhile, oh man, a whole bunch of lurker link coming up here. FremAN's gonna be careful. He's pretty zealot heavy here because he hasn't managed to get that third gas. Yeah. And it looks like we're getting a couple of decent storms off, but the Zealots are also in the front, taking the brunt of the lurker fire.
Yeah, but FremAN did a good job of storming there. He managed to catch 3 lurkers in one. Halfway decent storm right there on a few of the remaining Hydras. Will we see another High Templar go down in here as well? No, not quite. FremAN didn't trade too badly in that engagement, you know. He took out a few Hydras, may have lost a High Templar and some Zealots, but it came out quite even, I think, for both of these guys. Sziky, though, he does have pretty much free reign to take another base if he wants, and then it starts to get dangerous. And that double gas base is just worrying for the Zerg to hang on to for too long. He's getting a lot of lurkers up and running now. We have a little bit of a lingering bite. Is he going to try for Nexus? No, he's just going to snipe off the probe, prevent any defensive cannons from coming in too early. And Sziky is taking that high ground as well. It's a nice position for him to have. I think FremAN needs to start considering his options and consider poking elsewhere or getting on that position before it gets too strong.
I mean, the good thing about advancing down this side of the map at least is if he kind of secures this area, he can also take the left side gas base as well. So kind of get to secure both these bases, just holding this area that he's kind of sitting in right now, and also simultaneously pressure a little bit the bottom left base. Although, as you said, with Sziky on the high ground, it's a little bit difficult to really do that. But if you can just get that extra gas base, you know, he won't be in the worst position. But he really does need to expand. If I was him, actually, I would just kind of double expand right now. And play defensively and play a little bit of catch up because he can't really move out against Sziky. I mean, Zyky's got a 20 supply lead, but if you can just abuse storms and defensive position, it'd be good. But hold that thought. Here we go. A big army coming in. The lurkers getting right among the Protoss. He doesn't even storm at all. Just immediately backs up here. I thought that would go a lot better for him actually, but it looks like finally the observer comes in. There's a good storm on the lurkers. Can he get another one here? He's got to go. He's got to be careful how he goes though. He should take out these lurkers first. Sziky going after the obs. The obs goes down. There's still 3 lurkers left. They're all clumsy. He could get stormed, but no. FremAN is just going to have to pull back.
Yeah, FremAN's still as well, but he is going to be forced back. He needed that observer. We have another fight to Scourge coming. Going to be looking for any stray observers. FremAN will be able to hold on to this base, but that was not the engagement it should have been for him. The observers have been so late this game. He finally has another observer, and now he should move forward and try and pick off any lurkers that he can get for free. There's a couple in there that he can use his goons to just get rid of, but FremAN is ailing right now. Sziky on 131 supply. FremAN dropping down to 87. Sziky might be able to get rid of this base with Lurker Ling right here, right now. He's going in. Nice storm for FremAN. Taking out so many lurkers all at once. And he will definitely hold on to this for the time being. I don't know how long that can last. And I have a feeling he shouldn't have made both of those High Templar into that Archon. He actually had 1 or 2 more storms in there as well, which he might need in just a second as more links come in. And those Archons are not yet done. They would be so useful, but they're not ready yet. And the lurkers are going to start coming in now too. FremAN does not have the troops to deal with this. Sziky is using the Zerg power to its fullest ability, throwing in so many units. It looks like FremAN is somehow going to hold on once again. That Archon being a super Archon, taking down so many lurkers. FremAN desperately throwing in reinforcements, but those mutas have finally come to bear once again. And Sziky is just pouring in more and more units. Look at this, more units flowing into that third base. There is no way FremAN's going to be able to hold on to it.
GG! Sziky takes game number 1. Oh man, he made it look easy too. I mean, for a second I was hopeful when FremAN was going down to the third with all those +1 speed lots, and it didn't look like Sziky had quite enough, and then the mutas came out and I was like, oh, of course he has it, of course he's fine.
Yeah, but it would look good for FremAN at one point. He definitely had the superior army. At one point when he won the engagement against the Hydralisks, his Zealots didn't get the greatest kind of engagement. They got drifted away a bit. He lost a few more units than he could, but he really won that engagement solidly, which is great at that point of the game against the Zerg, because he really got the upper hand then. But his observers were really late, really late. It was like he added them on as an afterthought.
Even before then, though, I mean, after he won the engagement, lurkers weren't ready yet anyway. But the reason he didn't go and attack a base was because Sziky kept doing backstabs with like 4 units at a time. You know, small groups of Hydras, small groups of Lings, and the random mutas that were left over. And every time FremAN would commit his entire army to just dealing with a small handful of units, which is the exact opposite of what you want to do in PvZ. I mean, it's just like a classic Zerg move in CvP to just do these little mini backstabs to try and you know, get the Protoss out of position. I really think FremAN should have just ignored it and just gone for a base, because at the end, you know, he lost all his stuff anyway to the backstabs. It was like bringing the army back didn't even do anything. So no.
Yeah, it's so tempting as Protoss or as anyone to defend kind of with your whole army at once, but all it takes is a little split, just split a few units off to deal with that kind of thing, and use the bulk of your army for something far more useful than mopping up small forces.
Yeah.
It's so easy to make that mistake when we see so many players do that, and FremAN just really fell victim. I think Sziky just looked far more kind of aware and active in lots of different places, whereas FremAN kind of had this one shot and he kind of missed it.
Yep. Well, I guess that's it for game number 1, but that's all right. FremAN will go on to the losers match, Sziky in the winners match, and next up we're gonna have the second match of the group, which is going to be True Touch versus Zaraki as ZVZ on the same map. See you guys in a bit.